I never believed buildings could hide things. I believed people hid things, crimes, secrets, regrets. Buildings were just concrete and wiring, passive containers for human mistakes. I don't believe that anymore. Because 3 years ago, I worked security in a building that officially had 12 floors. And I was assigned to the 13th. The job offer. I had just been fired from a warehouse job for missing too many shifts. The truth was I hadn't missed them. I just kept arriving late, disoriented, convinced I'd already worked those hours. Sleep problems, they said. I needed money fast, so when a private security firm emailed me directly, I didn't question it. Temporary night security position. Location, corporate office building downtown. Shift 11 p.m. 7 a.m. Assignment, restricted floor monitoring. The pay was ridiculous for what sounded like a do-nothing job. The email ended with a strange sentence. Some areas are not visible during daytime inspections. I assumed it was corporate nonsense. I replied yes. They told me to start the same night. The building was modern, glass exterior, clean lobby, too clean, the kind of place that feels empty even during business hours. At night it felt worse. The security office was in the basement. The supervisor on duty barely looked at me when I arrived. He handed me a key card and a radio. "You're assigned to floor 13, he said. I frowned. This building doesn't have a 13th floor. He paused, then said the elevator does. That should have been my first red flag. The elevator panel showed floors 1 through 12. No 13. I assumed it was a test. I swiped my card. The panel flickered. A new button appeared. 13. The elevator doors closed before I could change my mind. As it ascended, the lights dimmed slightly. My ears popped like I was gaining altitude too fast. The digital display skipped from 12 straight to a blank screen. The doors opened. Floor 13. The hallway looked wrong immediately. Same layout as the other floors, but stretched like someone had copied it from memory instead of measurement. The ceiling was too high. The lights were dimmer, humming faintly. There were doors lining both sides of the hallway, all labeled with familiar company names. But every plaque was scratched, not vandalized, scraped, like someone had tried to remove the names with their fingernails. My radio crackled. "Begin patrol," the supervisor said. His voice sounded distant, like he was underwater. The first patrol. The instructions were simple. Walk the hallway every hour. Check doors. Log anything unusual. I started walking. The carpet muffled my footsteps more than it should have. The air smelled stale, like a room that hadn't been opened in years. I passed a glass conference room. Inside, chairs were arranged neatly around the table. Every chair was facing the wall. The whiteboard had writing on it. I stepped closer. The marker strokes were shaky. Meetings never end here. I backed away slowly. The cameras. There were security cameras mounted along the ceiling. All pointed inward, toward the hallway, not outward like normal, like they were watching me. I checked the camera feed on my handheld monitor. Floor 13 didn't appear. There was no signal, just static. But sometimes between the flickers, I saw movement. The first sound. At 12:43 a.m. I heard footsteps. Not echoing, following. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I turned around. The hallway behind me looked longer than before. I walked faster. So did the sound. Then I realized something terrifying. The footsteps weren't behind me. They were matching my pace. From inside the walls, the office with the lights on. One door was slightly open. Warm light spilled out. Relief hit me hard. Human presence, even imagined, felt comforting. I pushed the door open. The office was occupied. Desks were filled, computers on, papers spread everywhere. But no one was there. Every computer screen displayed the same thing. A live feed of me standing in the doorway. The feed lagged by a few seconds. On screen, I watched myself step back. Then I saw something I hadn't done yet. On the screen, I turned my head, slowly, to look behind me. I did it in real life. Nothing was there. But on the screen, something tall stood inches from my back. I ran. The supervisor's lie. I slammed the elevator button repeatedly. Nothing happened. My radio crackled. "You need to calm down," the supervisor said. "What is this floor?" I shouted. Silence. Then he spoke again. "Floor 13 isn't for employees." "What does that mean?" "It's for what's left," he replied. "The logs." In a utility closet, I found a metal cabinet. Inside were old security logs. Different handwriting. Same assignment. Night 1, hallway longer than map. Night 4, hearing voices through vents. Night 9, doors opening on their own. Night 12, they're copying me now. The last entry ended mid-sentence. The pen had pressed so hard it tore the paper. The first voice. I heard someone whisper my name. From the end of the hallway. I knew better than to answer. The whisper got closer. "I'm still working," the voice said. "Why did they move us?" A man stepped into the light. His face looked normal. Too normal. Like a stock photo. His eyes blinked out of sync. "This is still the office," he said. "They said we'd go home after the meeting." Behind him, more figures appeared. Some missing features. Some wearing parts of others. They all stared at me. Waiting. The truth. I locked myself in the stairwell. It led down. But not up. I scrolled through the radio channels until I found an old, crackling frequency. A voice answered. Not my supervisor. An older man. "They told you it doesn't exist, didn't they?" he said. "What is this place?" "It's where people go when they disappear without explanation," he replied. "Layoffs, overnight closures, entire departments erased." My blood ran cold. "They didn't die," he continued. "They just never left. The floor is hungry." The lights flickered violently. The walls creaked. The voices returned. Louder. Angrier. Doors slammed open down the hallway. I saw hands reaching out. Some too long. Some bent wrong. They weren't trying to hurt me. They were trying to replace me. The rule they never told me. The old man on the radio whispered urgently. "Don't let it think you belong." "How?" "Leave something behind," he said. I didn't understand until the floor shook. The building groaned. The elevator doors opened on their own. Inside, the buttons were gone. Only one word remained etched into the metal. Stay. What I did. I took off my jacket, my badge, my radio. I dropped them on the hallway floor. Then I ran. The stairwell finally led down. I didn't stop until I reached the lobby. The supervisor was gone. So was the desk. So was any record that I had been there. Aftermath. The company doesn't exist. The building lists only 12 floors. My security badge doesn't open anything. But sometimes, when I ride elevators late at night, I feel it go one floor too high. and I hear voices inside the walls, practicing my name, learning my walk, waiting for me to forget which floor I belong on.